All right, y'all. Now we moving these guns off the chart, off the table. We're done talking about them. We're going to be talking about the semi-automatics now. All right. Let's see if I bring this thing closer. Hope it's not making y'all dizzy. Excuse the lab. I got two types of guns here, and they were checked in the earlier video. Like I said, I ain't doing it in every single video. This is SIG. You see the hammers caught back on there. Magazine out. Chamber clear. The SIG is similar. This is a semi-automatic pistol, meaning that it's magazine fed. Once you charge it, load it and charge it, pull the trigger, it's going to eject the spent casing, and it's going to do some of the action in itself, in that it's going to charge, it's going to load a new round every time you pull the trigger. It's going to eject the empty casing, load a new round. So that's a part of the semi-automatic. It's not a fully automatic weapon, in that when I pull the trigger, like most guns, if you walk in the store and buy a gun and walk out with it, it's not fully automatic. Fully automatic means if you pull this trigger, if you press this trigger and hold it, the gun will keep firing until all of the bullets are spent. That's what fully automatic means. You can fire some of these guns. Sometimes you hear people saying, "No, I know they had a machine gun," or "I saw a machine gun." Machine guns are legal in the United States as far as transfers, or if you're a manufacturer, you're law enforcement in the government. Civilians can purchase machine guns depending on what state you live in. Just like silencers and other AOWs and destructive devices, you can purchase them from people who legally had them. Before the the closeout day, I can't remember if it was 68 or 86, whatever. But they ban, they can't manufacture machine guns now and sell them to the public. All the machine guns that were manufactured post date or before the date that the ban went in place, you can still own those things. They can still be transferred, but most of them are very expensive. In the thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, and most people they know can't afford that. So, excuse me, y'all, getting the coughing spell again. I apologize. There must be something over here on this section right here that's causing me to cough. I had to stop the first video for that. Once again, I apologize for that, but I ain't gonna edit it out, y'all. I just don't give a shit enough to do it. Talking about machine guns, you can own one. If you live in a state that permits it, if you buy it from a legitimate dealer, which would be a transfer, and you have to get registered, pay a $200 tax stamp, so on and so on. But most people don't have the money and can't afford them, so most people don't have them. So all guns that you buy in the store are semi-automatic. There are systems out there like the Franklin Armory binary firing system, where you can take AR-15 platforms and make them fire so fast that it seems like it's fully automatic. There are systems like slide fire and bump fire, and you'll see people get online sometimes and they'll bump fire the guns, where the guns are actually it's not designed to fire fully automatic, but it's working off a recoil mechanism, or it has some type of special series where it fires when you pull the trigger and when the trigger is released. So other than that, all handguns and rifles are semi-automatic. They're not fully automatic weapons, and they don't run till the gun empties. This one is what's unique about this handgun. This is an all metal frame gun. Some guns, a lot of guns, your popular guns are polymer and metal. The top portion, of course, the slide and the barrel has to be steel, because it's dealing with a lot of pressures when you fire it around. You need a steel barrel and a steel slide to to support that process. The frame, however, can be polymer, no problem. And this is not a cheap plastic. We've actually Cerakoted these things. You can put them in the oven up to, like the polymers, you can put them in there up to like 200 degrees for a couple of hours, and it doesn't have any ill effect on them. So this is not like regular plastic that'll melt under heat. You can melt them, of course. You put it on a blowtorch or something else. You know what I mean? Yeah, it'll melt. Like all polymers and stuff like that, they eventually succumb to UVs over an extended period of time. But Glocks have proven themselves to be extremely reliable. They're one of the most popular guns in the world. And I'm not a Glock fanboy, but I like them. I got two of them. I carry one every day just because it serves the purposes of what I want. But this is a striker fire pistol. You look on the back of this gun. There's no hammer on the outside like you have on a revolver, or like you'll have on this gun right here. You see that hammer right there that's cocked? Show again, and it's clear. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the hammer. That dropped pretty fast. But I'm stick with. I started with this, so let me stick with it. This is hammer fire guns. I generally don't recommend novices to start out with them because it kind of takes. You have to be a little bit more attentive when you're dealing with them, because once again you got the thing with the hammer. In my opinion, and sometimes people, like, you wreck the slide. This has a decocker. This lever here, it'll drop the slide without firing a round. If there was a bullet in here and I dropped the slide like that, it would not have fired it. But with hammer fire guns, you rack the slide and the hammer stays back, and people may not pay attention to that. So I kind of recommend, tell people, unless you're really serious about shooting, and now you can do it. If you're going to be a serious shooter, you're going to really take the time, once again, training. If you don't train with the gun, just like you don't have it. But if you're going to train with the gun, you can buy any gun. You just got to learn your gun, read your manual, and learn your system and train with it. Train. But you can't be lackadaisical or kind of whimsical in your dealings with hammer fire guns, because sometimes you get in this situation like, oh shit, how can I charged it, but I don't want to shoot it. Now what I'm gonna do? Some guns like 1911s, they don't have decockers. They're hammer fire guns. They don't have decockers, so you got to do just like with a revolver. You got to press the trigger and hold the hammer and gently let it go back down. But this gun has like I said, a decocker where to drop the hammer with no issue. So that's why I love, if I have a hammer fired semi-automatic pistol, then I want it to have a decocker on it. Or I don't believe in just having the safety. I want a decocker on it. That's just me. That's what I don't like about 1911s. People carry them cocked and locked. They have the hammer back and the safety on, which this gun doesn't have any kind of external safety. I don't like that. But I like to have it where I can decock my weapon and still have a chamber in the round, cock the hammer back, and get into play if I need to be. But this is an all metal frame gun. Is metal better than polymer? The polymer mix? If it is, I can't tell. You know what I mean? People use them all. They're both, metal can, if we Cerakoted this one, metal can rust. Polymer won't. Polymer is subject to UV when metal isn't. Metal is harder, and less subject to heat. But the polymer that they use on most quality firearms can have very high heat tolerances. So I don't think it's bad either way it go. It's just a matter of preference. And once again, looking at the difference between these two firearms, one is hammer fire. There's no hammer on this one. This one has an internal striker, and when you charge it, as long as you don't pull the trigger, pretty much you're good. You don't have to worry about a hammer being jarred or being back or accidentally being released, full string. So those are just some of the things. This is a SIG. This is a Glock. That's all I want to talk about on those up front. One thing too, they both have, as you probably can't tell, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, they have night vision sights on it. I think that's essential for especially you buying a gun for defense. Most times you might have to use it, and maybe at night. That's one of the most unfortunate things about training too. A lot of people can't go to ranges or training schools where they actually do night shooting, which actually will be some of the best training, because most shooting incidents are very likely to happen in low light or in the dark. So even if you're shooting all the time, you're not shooting in low light or practicing that's a disadvantage for the average person. But having night sights are great because they'll help you acquire a silhouette in the dark, where regular 3-dot sights, plain sights, won't allow you to do that. So that's just something to think about. As far as magazines, this is the magazine. It's a metal magazine for the SIG. But you hear people, another thing too, you hear people make a big deal out of people calling them magazines and clips. I myself personally don't care. If I understand the idea that you're trying to convey, then it's good communication to me. If it's not, clips or something that they used to use back on the old Garins or whatever, back in World War I, what was a clip? It stored ammunition. It was an ammunition holder. What do these things do? They hold ammunition. They store ammunition. So whether you call it a clip or a mag don't mean anything to me. A lot of people try to be superior through nomenclature. I know something, or that I know how to, you using a term that we don't use, and that makes me smarter. That makes you less bullshit. Fuck it. It stores a magazine. It holds your ammo. You put it in your weapon. That's all it is. Magazine clip, whatever you want to call it. But generally, people refer to them as magazines. And in the streets, people call them clips. And I see all kind of people, saying that sometimes. But as long as the idea is conveyed, we understand what we're talking about. If I say pass me a clip and you pass me this, then you done a great job. Good. So, speaking of that, moving away from these handguns, we take all kinds. When it comes to magazines, and we move it over, just looking as with the pistols, it is with rifle magazines. You got polymer magazines. You got different capacities. People say high capacity. And you got people now that like to clarify and say standard capacity. Well, if a gun was designed to hold 30 rounds, if it was in its design, originally designed to hold to use a magazine that held 30 rounds, that is standard capacity. That's not high capacity. If it's something over that, then you could consider it high capacity. You can get magazines ranging from, on rifles, from 5 rounds all the way up to 100 rounds. There may be some here and that I'm not quite familiar with, but for the most part, excuse me, y'all. Most rifle magazines are generally 30 rounds. If it's 5.56 or something similar, or AK-47, use 7.62 by 39. Heavier calibers, 308, 7.62 by 51. That'll be like 20. They even Magpul make 25 round mags for the DPMS type rifles now. But most of your heavy 308 or battle rifle calibers are going to be 20 round magazines. Most of your kind of light, your lighter cartridges, 5.56, 7.62 by 39, and any caliber that people might consider assault, or like your standard army is going to use, they're going to use 30 round mags. Some of them, like the U.S. military generally uses, regular USGI mags, aluminum. They have these in stainless steel. They have them in polymer. So that's what you're going to have, stainless steel, polymer. You're going to have all kind of people making them. This is a Israeli or like these are old. People probably don't even see these too much anymore. This is USGI. This is Magpul. They got some with the windows in them. I got them. They got some that are translucent. They got all types of magazines. So which one should you get? Which one is the best? Whichever ones that consistently work reliably in your firearm, those are the best ones for you. So that's what I'm going to say on that. And I'm going to stop there.